A lot is happening in Tulsa County government on topics you yourself may have strong feelings about. I'm talking about data centers, property taxes, and it was just announced a busy road people living in Broken Arrow, Bixby, and Tulsa use will soon see a big construction project get underway. Joining me on the program tonight to speak about all of that is Tulsa County Commissioner Kelly Dunkerley. It's Unedited. Joining me on the program to speak unedited about multiple topics is Tulsa County Commissioner Kelly Dunkerley. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Rick.
Before we get into the main topics tonight, I did want to ask, how are things going with the roads and your winter weather response? Obviously, we've got more refreezing ahead tonight.
Yeah, temperatures are going to dip, but we had a very successful several days because we were prepared. So since we had the equipment, we had the training, we had the personnel, we prepared for that. We pre-treated the roads, and luckily we didn't have the ice that we could have gotten, and that really made everybody's job better. But plowing 24/7, and the county was out there, but all our municipal partners were out there too. So as a metropolitan area, we did very well, I think, in clearing the roads, and there's still more to go.
Have your crews been able to go home and get some rest? Or are you still on that go, go, go mode kind of situation?
Well, for the first 3 days, it was pretty much 24/7, just shift work, 12-hour shifts. But we've gone back to the regular shift now, and we'll have some people that will need a little bit of help and a little bit of a rest. But we got through the worst of it, and now it's just kind of making sure we finish the job.
You had a big announcement today about Garnett between 91st and 101st. Sounds like you're reconstructing that whole road. Is that correct? And when could that start?
That's virtually correct. I mean, from 91st going south to 101st intersection of Garnett, that road will be totally redone. And in fact, the first thing that we'll do is raising the intersection almost 6 feet, because it floods every year, sometimes multiple times a year, and the elevation has to be changed, and that's in every direction, northeast, south from that intersection. So hopefully we'll be able to get all the paperwork done and bid that out here in the next maybe 6 weeks and get construction started this spring.
Wow, that soon.
It's possible.
Is that tough happening with Roller Coaster Bridge being worked on by the Turnpike Authority as well?
We've been told that they're mutually exclusive. It is in the same area, but both projects are different. They're separate, and this is, a project that's been a long time coming. A lot of people working on it in the county and in Broken Arrow and in Tulsa, both sides, because that's a borderline road. But we all came together. We had a lot of conversations, and our federal delegation helped us push this grant through FEMA, and now it's being awarded.
Let's get down to the meat. The big topic that a lot of people have been talking about, I'm sure you've seen it on social media, is let's eliminate property taxes, or at least let's talk about it. And I know a chunk of that goes to Tulsa County. What are your thoughts on possibly eliminating that chunk of resources for the county?
Well, property taxes, I think many people would agree they're high. Yeah. And people are frustrated with that. And then, of course, it really impacts people on limited incomes or fixed incomes. So I definitely see the concern and share those with a lot of people that they would like to address those. But one thing from the county standpoint is the property taxes, it's a big bill, but only 8 to 9% of that goes to the county and operating the courthouse and the jail and even roads and bridges that we have to address. So we're a small portion of that, 8 to 9%. Most of it goes to other taxing entities, and whatever is decided, if the people decide to do something different, or if the legislature decides to change that mix, they're going to have some needs that they're going to have to find other ways to find the proper financing for them.
I was going to say, is the pressure on you to backfill that, or is it the legislature, or both?
Well, sometimes you have to get attorneys involved to look at the constitutional language, because if you take away a revenue stream, sometimes there's a requirement to replace it or to address that. Just taking it away is only one part of the equation. So it could lead to a wider discussion of what kind of services do we want as a state, as county, and it also impacts cities as well, because the property taxes also are associated with bond efforts to build roads and bridges. So there's a lot of different factors here, and I'm sure it's going to be debated in the legislature, and we'll be there at any time to answer questions about county operations.
Would you only be left with the sales tax if that's the case as far as your revenue goes, if you eliminate the property tax?
Some of those versions. There's several different versions, and I'm told in the state legislature there's virtually like 100 different bills, if not more, that deal with property taxes, because it's a big concern of a lot of people, and rightly so. But how they choose to address it, if they're able to address it, and if they can find something that's constitutional, there's just a lot of details there. So you can't really say exactly what would happen, but if we didn't have property taxes, then that would put a lot of pressure on so-called consumption taxes, which is sales tax. Which isn't a model that can be considered, but there'll be lots of pain points with that as well.
Let me ask you this. You did mention the legislature. Is there anything the county is looking at as far as next legislative session that you all need or hope for when it comes to your operations?
There's usually a number of them. Sometimes they're smaller issues. Some people don't realize that everything that county government was created by state government. So everything that county government does or does not do has been granted to county governments by the state legislature specifically. So if we want to order a different kind of paperclip, we're going to have to get permission from state government. So when we need a little bit of flexibility in our operations and things that we need to do different, we have to go down to the state legislature and say, could you please adjust the state statutes here and there. But to answer your question, we definitely need more funding for roads. Roads and bridges are big. Last year there was a measure that helped some of the counties, and we would like that to be that it's addressed to Tulsa County and some of the larger counties too. So we have needs that we would love to talk to them, and they do talk with us frequently, and whether we can meet in the middle, that's always the sausage that comes out in the legislative process.
Let me ask you, I've got a few more minutes. It seems like you all were the first to deal with this. Now it's kind of spread out into the cities, but there is a lot of concern about data centers, and I was wondering, how does this even come about? Do they come to you and ask for a zoning change, or do you get a heads up? Or I think a lot of people are very curious as to how these businesses come into our community and all this gets started.
Good questions on a lot of people's mind. Data centers, typically what I have seen in Tulsa County is entities that would like to build those types of structures and then probably have a contractual relationship with someone who would come in and use that or maybe even lease that from them. It's kind of a big industry. It's all around the country. And so they're going to talk with chambers of commerce and other entities about land possibility and how that interfaces with the county or the city. Is there a piece of land that they want, that they think is suitable, and then if the zoning is correct. So the big part of the conversations we've had at the county is this makes sense from an industrial standpoint, this type of a business? And then what's been part of the conversation that I had a lot of questions about is incentives. And sometimes those might be a tool that could be used in economic development, but I'm going to always want to see what's the return for our community. How many jobs are at stake, what kind of sales tax is generated, and what type of other revenues come to our community to see if it's a benefit for our community, or is it just kind of an incentive to a corporation and it all goes to the profit side. So that's the big question from my mind, and I think we will get to the bottom of all those questions if there's ever any more that come before us.
Do even the people and y'all, is there any power that we have when it comes to these data centers, or is it pretty much a private business thing that we have to smile and accept?
Well, there's definitely a big issue when it comes to zoning. Okay. So these have to be in a zoned industrial area. So if that doesn't fit, they can't be built. So it's a land use issue in a major way. But then on top of that, when they want to talk about certain types of incentives for giving property taxes or ad valorem taxes for a certain amount of time, that's a big issue. That's a big commitment. It affects our tax base, and it affects what we could or could not be doing with those types of land uses that could be more productive or more liking to what our citizens want.
Are you all gearing up for the possibility of another request possibly in the future? It seems like every community is dealing with this right now.
Yeah. It's big business. It's all around the country. So these entities are looking for places that are favorable for their business model, and Oklahoma is one of those places that they favor to look at because our energy prices are low, our water is available, and so it's a good place for them to look. But that doesn't mean it's a good fit. And I think you're seeing around our community in northeast Oklahoma, there's a number of places that have been turned down, and there's some places that are going forward. And it wouldn't surprise me if there's another look at Tulsa County, whether it's in the city or another city or in the unincorporated parts of the county. We'll look at those, but they've got to fit right.
Commissioner, thank you so much. I'm out of time. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.